quick little video on how to get through your Bible in 30 days. So, this is something that I've done a few times in the past 3 years, and I'm actually, since February 2022, I'm actually on my 20th time going through the entire Bible. So since February 20th, so it's been 3 years and 3 months, and I just finished my 19th time through the Bible, and now I'm starting the 20th. So this year, it took me 5 months to get through the Bible, and I just took my time reading it, using a highlighter, and what I would do is just go through it each day. I have it down to a science to do my devotions basically every morning. I don't even have to think about it anymore. But it used to be, I would struggle with the idea of reading every day. That was my first little struggle. So what I'm going to try and do in this video is these are for the people that are like, you know what? Summer's approaching. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try and plow through the Bible in 30 days. So it's not as hard as you might think it is, but there's also going to be some obstacles. And what I want to do is I want to share with you some of the obstacles that can come up, and then also some tips and tricks to get you through the Bible in 30 days. So consider this basically a crash course on how to do it. So I'm doing it as well this month. Starting today, I'm doing it as well. So I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm going to be doing. And I think my record is actually reading the entire Bible 3 times in 90 days. That's my record. And I was burnt after that. I was like burnt toast. I was exhausted afterwards. So whatever I'm sharing with you is what I've personally done. And hopefully you can kind of read my heart behind this as well, because I'm not just saying this to get you to be like, oh, this guy is being prideful and all this kind of stuff, and I don't want to be prideful, so I don't want to try it. I just want to stick to my 15 minutes a day, and that's it, kind of thing. This is for people that are like, man, I just want to try something different. I want to go a little bit deeper, and I want to get through the Bible. So what do you do? What do you do? The first thing I would do is there's some kind of mind things that you have to reconcile in your head, some obstacles that can come up. One of those is the second you start making yourself little goals, like I promise to read a couple of hours a day, I promise to read 5 chapters a day, 10 chapters a day, and then twice on Sunday, whatever. I'm going to ask you to stay away from that. Instead, what I want you to consider is here's the benchmark to help get you through 30 days. That is, sometime in a 24-hour period, you're going to need to set 2 hours a day. So it could be 15 minutes in the morning, another 45 minutes at lunchtime, and then maybe an hour in the afternoon or the evening, 2 hours. That's your benchmark. So if you want, what you could do is set a timer, not a countdown timer. Like, you're not setting an hour or 2 hours a day. What you want to do is you want to track how long you're reading. So as soon as you sit down in the morning to have your devotion, hit the timer, and just know by the end of that day, if you've read for 2 hours, again, it doesn't matter how fast or slow you read, it's about chunks of time. So if you know that you've read for about 2 hours, you are on pace to get through the entire Bible in 30 days. If you see that you can only do 15 minutes or 30 minutes, don't get downhearted about it. Don't get discouraged. It's okay to fail in this 30-day marathon, if you will. It's okay. But you got to understand that if you are not doing it at a pace of about 2 hours a day, it's going to be very difficult because what's going to happen is you're going to need to spend a little bit more time as you get closer to the end. That's your benchmark. So don't go by chapters, because if you go to, let's say, for example, the book of Ecclesiastes, I think there's like 12 chapters or something in it. The chapters are smaller. You can you could knock off the entire book of Ecclesiastes in one sitting. I think it takes like 20 minutes. So don't look at chapters, because there are some chapters in the Bible, especially when you get into Ezekiel or Jeremiah, that take you maybe 10 minutes to read. So I would stay away from chapters, and I would stay away from the idea that you have to get so many chapters, so many verses read or whatever. Just go by time. Time is probably the easiest thing. And again, I'm trying to help people that are trying this for the first time. So if you're in that range of 2 hours, you're going to be okay. So if you think about it, 15 minutes a day will get you through the entire Bible in a year. 15 minutes. So 2 hours is going to get you through the whole Bible in 30 days. And here's what happens. This is a crazy thing. This is what happens. Let's just say you start reading Genesis and you're trying to get through the whole Bible. What's going to happen is, once you get through the halfway point of Genesis, there's going to be some times where you're like, you know what? I got more time than normal. I'm just going to finish the entire book of Genesis. I'm just going to finish it. So maybe it's a Friday night, you start reading Genesis, and then Saturday morning, you're like, you know what? I'm over halfway. I'm actually close to being done Genesis. And that sometimes can take you about 4 hours just to get through Genesis, just for a parameter. But if you use the mindset of, when you start a book, don't start another book of the Bible until you finish that one, it's going to do something internally where, as you get closer to the end, you end up reading more and you read longer. And then what you want to do is you want to start the next book as well. So if you're done Genesis and you're going into Exodus, start Exodus. Just read a few chapters of Exodus just to get you into that mindset for the next morning. And then usually what I do is I just back up and then I start on chapter 1. So if you have the mentality that you're timing yourself every time you sit down to read, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in your vehicle. Hopefully you're parked. You could be at your favorite chair. It could be at night. It could be out on your patio. It could be when you're on vacation, on a plane, whatever. Just hit the timer. When you get to that 2-hour marker, that's going to condition you to read 2 hours a day. Because you're going to get frustrated at first because you're like, oh man, I only did 15 minutes. Keep using that marker, because I'm telling you, that'll keep you on track. Another thing to do is play around with different formats. What do I mean? If you're using a physical Bible, sometimes that slows you down if you have commentary in it. So I would suggest reading a Bible that doesn't have any commentary. That'll help you. Also, you might want to switch it up from time to time and listen to an audio Bible. Remember, we are plowing through in 30 days. So this is do whatever it takes to get through the Bible. So if you have to use your Kindle, which I primarily use, I have an Amazon Fire tablet. I use that because I could speed up and slow down how many words per minute I read. So my average right now is about 450 to 500 words per minute on Kindle. And I would encourage you to get one of those Fire Amazon tablets or get a Kindle reader. It just helps you because there's no distractions. Then you can literally lay it in front of you and then hit play with the word runner, and it'll just read the entire Bible. And you can just sit there and you'd be shocked. You can sit there for 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, and you'll be shocked at how fast you can actually go through the Bible. Also, listening to an audio Bible, that counts as well, by the way. When you're doing a 30-day burst, feel free to use the audio version and then pump it up to 1.5 speed or 2 speed or 2.5 speed. Once you get to 3 times, it starts sounding like a Smurf, and I don't always like that. But you need to be able to feel comfortable to go from your physical Bible to a Kindle reader or Amazon Fire or an audio version of the Bible. Have all those 3 queued up and ready to go. This will help you immensely because sometimes, whether you have company at home or whatever it is, you might not be able to read at your favorite place. And sometimes you can actually knock a lot of the Bible out of the park when you're driving as well by yourself. Maybe you're commuting somewhere, have the Bible playing as well. But don't do it if you're having somebody in the vehicle with you and you hit play because you're having a conversation, you're not actually listening. So the goal is to get through the Bible in 30 days. It's not about comprehension at the beginning. That will come the more times you read through the Bible. As think about it. I can go through the book of Acts a lot faster than I can Chronicles. Why? Chronicles has so many names that you'll never see again. And arguably in the Old Testament, I think there's like 4,000 names of people from Genesis all the way to Malachi. And in the New Testament, I think there's like less than 1,000 names. So, and a lot of them keep coming up. Jesus, Paul, Barnabas, Peter, like those names we're all familiar with. But in Chronicles, man, there's lots of stuff going on, lots of tribes, lots of people that you'll never see again for the rest of the Bible. So don't bog yourself down. Just understand that that's going to take you a little bit more time to get through. But when you get to Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs, you can do that in a weekend. Easy. You can do the whole New Testament in a weekend. If you listen to the New Testament at 1.5 speed on Audible, you can get through the entire New Testament in 6 hours. So now you have, let's just say you went through the New Testament in one weekend. You now have 3 weeks to focus on Genesis to Malachi. And again, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, you can get through that in a weekend easily as well. So what else comes up? Make sure you drink lots of water and make sure you have a decent sized print on your Bible, especially for old guys like me who are, how do you say, past the prime. You need a nice size print because if you're squinting at your book because the print is so small, and I would suggest 10 point or higher. If it's less, you're going to fatigue your eyes as well. And honestly, if you haven't read the entire Bible ever, this is going to make you a little bit more tired. You're going to find you're going to need more cat naps because you're just not familiar with the content of what is going on in the Bible. But the more you do it, the faster you do it, you're going to be able to go through books like Acts in one sitting, Romans in one sitting, First and Second Corinthians in one sitting. Like it'll just happen over time. It won't happen on day one. But if you try these methods to try and get through the Bible in 30 days, ignore the people that are telling you to slow down, because this is also an obstacle that comes up. As soon as you tell somebody you're going to do a 30-day challenge and get through the entire Bible, they'll be like, oh man, why would you ever want to do something so crazy? Just slow down, read one verse a day, and in 3 years you'll get through the entire Bible. They'll do that. But the problem is they don't do that for Lord of the Rings. Like they will plow through Lord of the Rings or the Two Towers or any of the other books. They'll just plow through it in like a couple of weeks and they're done and they're talking about it and they love it and all this. But the second you say that you're going to get through the Bible in 30 days, all of a sudden the scholars come out and they're like, well, I don't know if that's healthy. I think you should actually just meditate on one verse a day. And yet they've never done it. They've never experienced the fruit behind reading the entire Bible in 30 days, let alone the entire Bible 3 times in 90 days. So it's not for everyone, and it's not for the faint of heart, but if you think in your soul of souls that you could set aside 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, remember, this isn't just 5 days a week, this is 7 days a week. If you can find it in your heart to set 2 hours a day for God, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Lord of the universe, then this might be something that you want to tackle, especially for the summer. And what will happen, and this happened to me unannounced, is there were pockets of time where I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and my goal was just to read for a couple of hours, and I would read all day till 6, 8 o'clock at night. And that would come all of a sudden, you're like, oh man, I'm not tired, and I'm just reading. And you just read, and all of a sudden you knock off Genesis and you knock off Exodus in one day, and you're like, what is going on? So that's why I say put a block of 2 hours and then enjoy the blocks of time where all of a sudden you're going to be reading for 4 hours, 6 hours, or 8 hours in one day. And there will be times where you're only going to be able to read for like an hour. Don't kill yourself. Don't unlife yourself because of that. It's inevitable that you're going to have something in your life that comes up unannounced. So that's why there will be times where you're at the 2 hour mark and you're like, you know what? I have an extra 15 minutes. I have an extra half hour or hour. And some days you might read for 3 hours. But again, your benchmark should be about 2 hours a day to get you through the entire Bible. And what happens too, and this is another crazy thing, is let's just say you are, where would you be? You are just finishing up Ezekiel, and it's Thursday, Friday kind of thing, afternoon. You're like, I'm done Ezekiel. All I have is the minor prophets left, and that's it, and I'm done. You'll plow through it over the weekend, and if you have it in your mindset to be done by Monday morning, you'll plow through it. And let's just say you're just jumping into Ezekiel on Thursday or Friday. You're like, man, if I get through this, I'm actually done the entire Bible. And something happens to you where you find pockets of time throughout the day that you can actually get through the Bible. And it's an amazing thing. So don't bog yourself down on the idea of reading 1,100 pages in 30 days, and don't make rules like I'm going to read 30 pages a day or 100 pages a day, because for some reason the flesh likes to get involved and it'll wear you out. So trust me on this. Set a benchmark of setting 2 hours, time it with your phone. So if you sat down, you only had 15 minutes in the phone, or only 15 minutes reading in the morning, just look at your timer and go, oh, I still have an hour and 45 minutes left of my reading time. And then maybe at lunchtime you spend a half an hour and you're like, oh man, I only got an hour and 15 minutes left. And then I'm done my reading for the day. If you stick to that plan over a period of 30 days, what you might realize is at the end of 30 days, if you just stuck to that, you're like, oh man, I was I probably could have read a little bit more. There was a couple of pockets of time where I could have done something a little bit more, and I'm finding out that all I have left is Psalms, or all I have left is the Gospel of John, depending on how your reading schedule is. And you're like, oh man, I was very close. Another week and I would have the entire Bible, or another 2 weeks, I'd be done. So you're like 6 weeks and you're upset that you didn't finish the Bible in 30 days and it took you 6 weeks or it took you 2 months. That's still great. That is phenomenal. So don't beat yourself up, especially on the first time. For me, 30 days happen organically because the first time I read the Bible, it took me 5 months, and then 3 months, and then I did three times in 3 months. So I didn't do it the first time out of the gate. It took me 5 months to get through the entire Bible, just like this year. It took me 5 months. I started in January and I just finished it yesterday. So today I'm in Acts. I started it this morning and I'm almost done Acts. I think I'm on Acts chapter 11 or chapter 12. Acts goes by real quick. So then my plan is to go into Romans, and I have a little bit of a different reading schedule. It's easy for me. I don't do cover to cover. What I do is I go from Acts, and you might have to watch this video again. I'm just throwing stuff out at you, so you might have to take notes and go through it again. But I go from Acts all the way to the end of Revelation, and then I go to the Old Testament. I go from Genesis all the way to Job. Then I go back to the New, and I knock out of the park the Gospels one after another. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I always do it. I've been doing it for 3 years. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all in a row. And then back to the New Testament, and I will go from Isaiah all the way to the end of Malachi. And then the last thing, I wrap everything up with a nice little bow, is Psalms to Song of Songs. And I find that a fantastic way to end the Bible, because you're in Psalms, you're in Proverbs, you're in Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs. And it's just nice because you can do that over a weekend. So I know that's a lot, but you might have to watch this again. And today is a great day to start. And if you want to do it with me, I will give updates as to where I'm at over the next 30 days. I'm not going to do it every day, but maybe by the end of the week, I'll say, here's where I am at. This is where you should be at. And if you want to start with me, let's start in the book of Acts. Acts is great. And then I just go right to the end of Revelation. So that's your first chunk to try and get through this week. All right. And maybe we'll divide it up into 4 chunks. And I'll just say for next week, here's where you should be at. And if that helps you get through the Bible, we'll do it together. And I appreciate you guys. I'm cooking right now in this vehicle. I should have rolled down the windows a little bit, but that's okay. So I hope this helps you out. Again, watch it again. If you have any questions, you can email me if you want my reading schedule. Just email me at shane@blackswanrevelations.com. And I'll send you my reading schedule. Maybe every few days as well, I'll send you an email as to what helps me as well to get through the Bible. And I'm telling you, once you do it one time, you'll be excited because you're like, man, it took me a month to do it. What if I just slowed down and did it in 4 months or 5 months? That's fine. That's actually fantastic. But I think every once in a while you need to do little bursts where you're like, instead of 15 minutes a day for a year, I'm going to do it in 1 month. I'm going to plow through, and I'm going to get through the entire Bible in 30 days. And I'm telling you, there's something that happens inside you, because once you know it's possible to do it, there's times where you'll just sit down and you'll just read the book of Romans in one sitting. You'll read the entire Gospel of John in one sitting. You'll read Genesis in one day, like on a Saturday. You just sit there and just read the whole book. And there's something beautiful about reading the entire book in one sitting. There's something special, I believe, that happens because you get the context of everything. And believe it or not, if you keep trying to do this 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or 120 days, some of this stuff will stick, and you'll be shocked because all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I can almost go through the entire book of Acts in my head, or I can go through huge portions of Genesis in my head as well. So that's the fun part. So don't take any of the negative nillies that are out there that'll say, don't do it, slow down, you're going to burn yourself. These are the people that have never done it. So don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Trust me when I say it is very healthy and beneficial to read more of the Bible than you've ever thought humanly possible. I'm telling you, there are benefits that you can't see today. For example, here's one benefit. I don't swear anymore. What? What do you mean? I thought that's impossible. No, It is possible. I used to cuss all the time, lots. In my head, I'd cuss. I could peel paint off the wall, but I don't swear. I've actually conquered that. I don't swear. So